Now the event will be recorded. And as we were talking about the fundamentals of API. So yeah, so route is responsible for mapping an incoming request to the appropriate controller action. It receives the request and it uses the URL and the request method to determine which controller action should handle the request. Similarly, controller is basically responsible for handling the logic of the application. It receives the request from the route, performs any necessary actions, such as you can talk about querying the database, and it returns a response to the client. So the model, when we talk about it, it basically represents the data and the business logic of the application. It interacts with the database to retrieve, store, and update data. The model can also perform any necessary data validation and processing before returning the data to the controller. A lot about the theory section. Let's talk about Keploy. Well, Keploy is currently participating in Google's Summer of Code, so you all can go and start contributing to everybody who is beginner in open source to proficient level. So it is basically a open source no code API testing platform which will help you generate unit test cases and data mocks from API calls. These dependency mocks are automatically generated with the recorded request and responses. Down below is the link to Keploy's main website, keploy.io. I would hugely encourage anybody to go out there and explore all the fellowship program and the DevRel cohort program given by Keploy. Well, going forward, let's talk about why you should use Keploy. How is it unique? So basically, it helps in converting API calls from anywhere to test case. It also automatically mock mutations. You don't have to do it manually. It also helps in accurate noise detection and easy integration with framework new libraries. Talking about the current situation, it is easily integrated with Java, Python, TypeScript, and Go. As of now, still the other languages are on the work. If you want to be a contributor, you can go out to the GitHub of Keploy and start contributing. Now, Keploy API Fellowship. So, Keploy API Fellowship is basically organized by Keploy to provide students and individuals an opportunity to learn more about Keploy, spread awareness about the APIs, unit testing, and how Keploy is uh, relevant in today's world. There are two types of fellowship given by Keploy. So one is the API fellowship and the other is developer relations program. So a fellowship is typically a competitive program that provides funding, mentorship, and network opportunities to individuals with specific skills and interests. These programs are designed to support emerging talents and provide opportunities. So fellowship programs can be found in a variety of industries, not only Keploy. There is also MLH fellowship. So yeah, fellowship is very much relevant in today's world. But other than that, a developer relations program is a little bit different. It is also known as DevRel, and it is designed to build relationship with developers and communities of developers. So the primary goal of a DevRel program is to provide developers with the resources and support they need to build and develop software application using specific tools, platforms, or technologies. Uh, Now, as we are talking about API fellowship, let's hover over to the website to get an insight about all the API. So this is the main website of Keploy. You can find a documentation which will be redirecting you to the GitHub of Keploy. Hovering down, you can find out how it is actually working and how you can integrate it to your website or any of your projects to make it smooth. Then down there, you can find out initiatives of Keploy. So API Fellowship Program, you can visit the website. They're currently not accepting batches, but you can join the wait list and you will be redirected to the fellowship program and be selected if your candidacy is legitimate and be a part of Keploy. Second is Keploy DevRel program. So if you are a DevRel enthusiast like me, I think you should really go forward and apply for the DevRel program. It's also API fellowship program also gives you a hedge over DevRel program. If you are a Keploy fellow, then you are automatically going for the DevRel program. So yes, if you have to kickstart your journey as a DevRel, I highly recommend you to go over to the site and apply for the Keploy DevRel program. You can find out integrations of projects that Keploy go with, such as Go, Java, and Node.js as of now, but there will be lot more others as time passes. You can also join the open source community of Keploy through GitHub, Slack, and Twitter. And there is a very encouraging community in Slack, so I highly recommend you to join the Slack and get insights about the ongoing Google Summer of Code campaign, and rest of the things you can figure out pretty much by yourself. Well, heading over to the presentation mode again. Well, uh, you can also head over to GitHub and scan it here, and every star that you make, you are actually making Keploy popular and reaching Keploy to other students who are also interested in the opportunity. So I highly recommend go and star us on GitHub. It will be really encouraging for all the existing developers of Keploy as well as the open source community of Keploy, because open source is kind of the future. So I recommend you can scan and star us on GitHub. Well, talking about Keploy and APIs, let's talk about a bit about MLSA. So yes, on Friday, Saturday's session, which took, there was a Kahoot quiz based on which there was some MLSA nomination codes which were given up, and as well as LinkedIn Premium. But there were a few questions about what is MLSA and Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. So that is what I'll be talking about here. So basically, Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador is an initiative that aims to empower and engage students across the globe by offering them access to valuable resources, opportunities, and support. So, as a MLSA, students can take their skills to the next level and gain recognition for their efforts. But why exactly you should choose MLSA? Well, I won't just say it just because I'm an MLSA, but from an outsider's point of view, there are a lot of benefits if you become an MLSA. You will get access for your own MLSA account along with your email address, such as I have shantini.deb@studentambassadors.com. You will also have of Azure credits of 30,000 and a lot more benefits when you gain into the program. I will highly encourage that you scan the QR code and start with applying. The deadline for this cohort is 30th March. So MLSA basically tracks in students based on cohorts. And if you are interested in this cohort, but you are not really having the time to fill it up, don't worry. You can also fill it up after 30th March, but then you will be selected in the next cohort. And I would suggest being an MLSA, take time to fill up the application, go through the application overview, fill in the application questions with at most honesty and all that you have. Going for a little bit hands-on about MLSA, let me show you the website. So this is basically when you scan in the QR code, this is what you will go for. Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador website. You can go for apply now and you can start filling in the questions. For me, if I apply now, I'll be already redirected to my account since I'm already in MLSA. But for you guys, it will be redirecting you to a question and answer panel. And based on a video question answer and few essay questions, your application will be shortlisted. For how will it be relevant to this event? Well, my nomination code, suppose if I'm an MLSA, I can nominate you, and your application will be fast tracked to getting a higher preview for selection. So if there are tons of application every cohort, and if you are interested in MLSA and you really want to be a part of a global community, interact with people, collaborate on projects, then I would really love nominating those interested folks into MLSA, and that is the reason why this event is here. uh, well, that is me for now. Heading over to the next part, we will talk about everything that we learned in the previous session, a quick recap, and a few extra points, which will be led by Sambit. So, yeah, over to you, Sambit.
Thanks, Anthony. So I am sharing my screen now. Is it visible to everybody?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So first of all, we have to know what is about API. So what is API? API stands for the Application Programming Interface. So why we need the APIs? So before the API, so we need to API develop an API to actually connect between different devices, interconnect between different devices. So before the API came, there was no chances to actually connect and remotely and exchange the data between different devices. It was very tedious job to actually developers were doing that. They were developing every application from scratch, and after the API they don't need to write everything from the scratch. They just need to call the rules of the APIs and then integrate with their application, and whatever they are wanting to do, so they can do it with a snap. So actually, then I am heading to the next slide. Actually, you have to know the building blocks of an API. So endpoints, method, headers, parameters, status code. So first of all, we have to know the endpoint. Endpoint is a specific URL from which you can access that API. So suppose I am here. So this is from this link. Yes, this part. This part is actually the endpoint of the API from where you can access this document. And method is that what are the requests you are sending to the server. Okay, so what are the methods should be there? That is get, post, put, delete. These are the main methods. Actually, we are doing to actually we are applying to the APIs. And then this is the headers. This is not the actually defined in the path. Method and headers and status codes are not the defined in the URL path. So headers are actually the how the API can be authenticated, how the API securities can be implemented, and everything is about. And the parameter. So now we have to understand the parameter. This is called the these things. These things are the actually parameters. Edit, this is one parameter, and the query after this is actually the variables. Whatever we want to pass the IDs and the other things as these are the variables. So this the entire thing we are actually uh, referring as parameter. And the status code. Status code, we have to understand the status code. That means if this API has been the request is successfully made from the server and you are getting the details from the server, the status code should be written as 200 OK. So if something that you have sent a request, the data is not in the server, so then you have to actually you will get the request as request code or the status code as 404 not found. And if the server got crashed, then you will get the request code as 500 internal server error. So this is not the 500 internal server error, is not the part of the client side. This is actually for the developer side. So okay, and now as per my definition, just try to answer these questions. Observe the link and below the and the answer the below questions. Different endpoint, method, parameters, and status codes here. Just open your mic and suppose the method and status code, you have to guess and say. Just open your mic and say whatever you are choosing and why you are choosing. What is the method you are thinking that it should be the method, it should be the status codes, and why. You have to say this. Just open your mic and say me like I'm here to help you. Don't hesitate. This is the link.
I think it will be kind of difficult for them to write the whole
Uh,
link in the URL browser.
wait,
So
wait, wait. Someone is actually requesting control. Okay, let them access the control. I think. Hello. Can you open your mic, Rohit? Wait a second.
can you stop the request control submit?
Uh, wait, I think I can.
Just reshare your screen.
Okay.
For now, I would encourage all of you to answer the questions. You don't really have to go into the link and um find out the status code
Wait,
because I think
Rohit, you are something. Okay, wait, I am resharing my screen. And
it will be tedious for them to find out the link. So it will be
no,
also helpful
no, no,
if
just let them try it first. Let them try it first. Don't need to actually unmute yourself and try it. This is very simple. This is very simple URL.
হ্যালো, হ্যালো।
Hello.
হ্যাঁ, দাদা বলছি যে আমি
You can speak in English. You can speak in English.
ওকে, ওকে। So, senior, I want to write my question in the chat, but here the chat is not showing to me.
Yeah, chat is disabled actually, and you can say from this the wherever I'm presenting, just say it. Observe the link carefully and say it. What is the endpoint? First of all, say, say me.
Can you just unmute and speak?
Can you repeat again? Excuse me. Should I say it?
I was asking, can we just unmute and speak?
Wait.
yeah, you are allowed to unmute and speak.
Okay. Now, yeah. Okay. That yeah. Should I define all those things here? Okay. Let's define it. So the first of all, the endpoint here is the HTTPS the bookzone.com/API/books and from the before the question mark. That means the ISBN number actually we are getting it. This is the actually the endpoint, main endpoint. And now I am actually now skipping the method and status code, and I'm going to the parameter. So the parameters are here from this question mark, sort equals author, and limit equals to 10. So the parameters are actually we can say the sort and limit. So what it will return? The sort equals to author means the author of this book, and limit is 10. That means the maximum limit of the books that will be shown in the website, that is 10. And the method, basically this link is actually uh, are you getting my voice clearly, Shantani?
Yeah, yeah, you're audible.
Okay. So now the method of this link is actually the get method. We're actually retrieving the data from the server. Okay. And now the status code, if this is this the all the queries and this ISBN number is found and all the queries are okay, then the status code will be 2000 okay. And then if this is not found, this ISBN is not found, then this will not be the valid and the status code will be returned as not found. If the server is somehow is not working or gone offline, then it will be said as 500 uh, server internet server. So the APIs can be built using any of the following languages, that is Go, Java. In Java, for the Java, you have the Spring Boot framework, and the Node.js you have Express, and for Python you have Fast API, and also it's the Dart. And many more languages it can be developed. And now all most of the languages are coming with the specialty to build the APIs on them. Now let's move to the next part. So let's build. So we have a little time in hand. So I'm just showing you how it will be looking like. So this is actually the Node.js application and the Express application I have put in here. So just observe app.get. This when you are you will be typing this link and then it will show you the welcome to bookzone. And when you will put a slash list underscore books, it will return all the books here in the JSON file I've written. This is a very simple, and in the industry level, the things are not that much of simple because you have to define the model, the router, and the controller, and many more things. That is exception handling folder, directory, repository, and many other things. You have to define. Now let's get back to this. And now scan this QR code and give your feedback, and you will receive your MLSA certificate here. You scanned it. Anyone unmute yourself and say, scanning done. You all can unmute yourself and say,
If anyone has any queries, this is the time when you can unmute yourself and speak about it. Well, this is the QR code which will be redirecting you to a form. So I'll highly encourage all the existing participants, please scan the QR code to show your attendance. Based on that, you will be receiving MLSA certificates, and one lucky person will also receive a MLSA nomination. So, yeah.
Is this the same form we have filled for the registration, or is the attendance a different form?
It's a different form. For your attendance, you have to fill this up.
Okay, thanks.
Hello, I had a question.
Say.
There are different methods of authentication when we create an API, right? Be it JWT token or bearer token or cookies. Which one will you recommend and why?
For authentication, can you please again say the question? It's not clear to me.
Uh, to authenticate an API or to restrict access to certain endpoints, we have several methods, right? JWT, we can use bearer tokens, we can use cookies. Which one will you recommend?
So actually, it's not the recommendation part because whatever the methods you will be using, as per what you need that means the accessing rules. What you have said the rules. This is the entirely the business logic. As per the logics, whatever you have all that setting up, and you should use that particular method to restrict the access.
Okay, thank you.
So, and okay, this is my blogging channel where you will find all the my blogs on API. I have a blog on the full on the API fundamentals. You can go through it, and if you have any questions, you can comment it, and I will definitely answer.